Hello everyone, and welcome to this week's live mindset mastery session. Today we're talking about something I know so many struggle with quietly. How to heal the inner critic and begin trusting yourself again. And I want to say that very gently, because for many people the inner critic is not just a small negative thought. It can become the voice that comments on everything. The way you look, the way you speak, the choices you make, the things you didn't do, the things you wish you'd done differently, the message you sent, the decision you made, the relationship you stayed in, the opportunity you didn't take. Sometimes that voice is so familiar that you don't even recognize it as a voice anymore. It just feels like truth. It says, you should have known better. You always do this. You can't trust yourself. You're not ready. You're not enough. You'll get it wrong again. It's because it sounds like your own mind that you believe it. Today, I want to invite you to look at it differently though. What if the inner critic is not your truth? What if it's an old protection pattern? What if this voice was created at a time in your life when being hard on yourself felt safer than being fully yourself? Because very often the inner critic is not there because you are broken. It's there because somewhere along the way a part of you learned that criticism could protect you. Maybe it protected you from being rejected. Maybe it protected you from disappointing someone. Maybe it protected you from making a mistake. Maybe it protected you from being too visible, too emotional, too confident, or too much. But protection patterns can become prisons. The same voice that once tried to keep you safe can later become the voice that keeps you small. In my book, Love versus Fear, I talk a lot about the patterns that run underneath our conscious choices. There is one line I want to bring into today's session because it fits this topic so well. The gap between what you know and what you do is where the real control over your life sits. This is exactly what happens with the inner critic. Because most people already know they should be kinder to themselves. They know they shouldn't attack themselves after a mistake. They know they shouldn't doubt every decision. They know they shouldn't need anyone else's approval before they trust what they feel. But knowing does not always stop the pattern. And that is where people start blaming themselves. They say, why am I like this? Why can't I just stop overthinking? Why can't I trust myself? Why do I always go back to the same fear? But the deeper question is not what is wrong with me. The deeper question is, what part of me learned that doubting myself was safer than trusting myself? That question opens the door to healing. Because now you're not fighting yourself. You're listening deeper. Let me give you a very simple example. You make a decision. Maybe it's something small, maybe it's something important. And almost immediately the critic comes in. What if you made the wrong choice? What if they don't like it? What if you regret this? What if you embarrass yourself? Now, on the surface, it looks like overthinking. But underneath, it may be a fear of being judged, or a fear of being abandoned, or a fear of trusting your own voice because at some point your own voice was not supported. So, the inner critic is rarely just about the present moment. It is usually touching an older wound. That is why the reaction can feel so big. It's not just about what is happening now, it's about what your body remembers. In Love versus Fear, I also talk about the nervous system and how it can react before the conscious mind even had time to think. There is one question from the book that I love for this topic. What does the nervous system believe it is protecting you from? This is such an important question, because if you try to hear the inner critic only by saying, I trust myself, I trust myself, I trust myself, but your body does not feel safe trusting you yet, then that affirmation just feels empty. Not because the affirmations are bad, but because the deeper system needs safety and not just words. So instead of forcing confidence, we begin by creating safety. We start by saying, I hear that fear. I understand something in me is trying to protect me. But I do not need to attack myself in order to stay safe. That's a very different energy. You're not fighting the critic. You're not obeying the critic. You are becoming the loving, conscious presence that can finally respond to it. Now, I want to make this practical, because healing the inner critic is not about pretending you never have negative thoughts. It's about changing your relationship with these thoughts. So when your inner critic appears, I want you to try these 3 simple steps. The first step is notice the voice. Not believe it immediately, just notice it. Instead of saying, I'm not enough, you say, a part of me is feeling not enough right now. Instead of saying, I can't trust myself, you say, a part of me is afraid to trust myself right now. That small change creates space. And space is very important. Because when there is no space, the critic feels like identity. But when there is space, you can see it as part of you, not all of you. The second step is find the fear underneath. So ask yourself, what is this voice afraid will happen? Because the inner critic usually has fear behind it. If it says don't speak, maybe it's afraid of rejection. If it says don't try, maybe it's afraid of failure. If it says you always ruin things, maybe it's holding shame. If it says you can't trust yourself, maybe it's connected to a past choice you still haven't forgiven yourself for. So we don't just listen to the sentence, we listen for the wound underneath the sentence. That's where the healing begins. Now, the third step is answer from love and not fear. And I want to be clear, love does not mean you never correct yourself, okay? Love does not mean ignoring mistakes. Love doesn't mean you pretend everything's fine. Love means you correct yourself without the quoting. So fear might say, you made a mistake and so you are the mistake. Love, on the other hand, would say, you made a mistake and you can learn. Fear says you should have known better. Love, on the other hand, would say, well, now you know more. Fear might say something like, you can't trust yourself. Love, on the other hand, would say something like, you can rebuild trust with yourself, one choice at a time. This is the shift from fear to love. It's not dramatic, it's not forced, but it's very, very powerful. And this is where self-trust begins. Self-trust is not waking up one day and suddenly never doubting yourself again. Self-trust is built in small moments. Every time you pause before reacting. Every time you listen to what you feel instead of dismissing it. Every time you make a decision and allow yourself to learn from the outcome. Every time you speak to yourself with respect after a mistake. Every time you do not abandon yourself just because fear appears. That is self-trust. It's not perfection. It's a relationship. The relationship you have with yourself. Because if every time you make a mistake, you attack yourself, your system will not feel safe choosing. It will become afraid of decisions, afraid of action, afraid of being seen, afraid of trying. But when you begin to respond to yourself with compassion and honesty, something inside starts to soften. Your body begins to learn. It can make a choice and still be safe. It can get something wrong and still be loved. I can disappoint someone and still stay connected with myself. I can listen to myself without needing anyone to agree. That is where self-trust becomes embodied. Not just a thought, it's an experience. So just for a moment, wherever you are, take one slow breath and ask yourself, where has my inner critic been loud recently? Maybe around a decision, maybe around your body, maybe around a relationship, maybe around your work, maybe around something you want to do but keep delaying. Now gently ask, what is this voice trying to protect me from? And now again ask, what would love say here? Not what would fear say. Not what would shame say. Not what would the old version of me say. What would love say here? Maybe love would say, you are allowed to take your time. You are allowed to learn. You are allowed to choose again. You are allowed to trust what you feel. You are allowed to stop punishing yourself. That is the voice we are rebuilding. There is another idea in love versus fear that I want to bring in briefly. Real change does not always feel like a big dramatic breakthrough. Sometimes real change feels like a pause. A moment where you would normally attack yourself, but you don't. A moment where you would normally spiral, but you come back sooner. A moment where the old voice appears, but you don't obey it immediately. That is healing. It may look small from the outside, but inside it's a huge shift. Because you are no longer fully identified with the old pattern. You're beginning to choose differently. So if there is only one thing I want you to take away from this today, it's this. Your inner critic is not your deepest truth. It's usually fear. It's usually protection. It's usually an old voice trying to prevent an old pain. But you don't have to keep living from that voice. You can begin to listen deeper. You can begin to respond differently. You can begin to build self-trust. Not by being perfect, but by staying with yourself. Self-trust is not the absence of fear. Self-trust is the moment you stop abandoning yourself when fear appears. That is the real healing. I want to share something important as well. This live session is meant to open the topic. Today we are understanding the pattern. We're naming the inner critic. We're seeing how it connects to fear, protection, old wounds, and self-trust. But on Wednesday, in the paid group healing session, we're going into the same theme, but much more deeply. That session will be a 30-minute energy healing session where you're not just listening to this concept, you're actually moving through it. We will work with the inner critic a lot more directly. We will look at the voice it uses. We will connect with what it has been protecting. We will create space for your system to experience what we're talking about today and to shift from fear into love, from self-criticism into compassion, from self-doubt into self-trust. So, if this topic touched something in you and you feel that this is not just something you want to understand, but something you want to experience and begin healing inside yourself, I invite you to join Wednesday's group session. You can find the details in the description of the video. Also, the website is aurelialifestyle.com/alchemy-frequency, or you can connect with me on Facebook on Aurelia 5D Alchemy. It's the same for Instagram as well, Aurelia 5D Alchemy. Now, I thank you everyone for being with me here today. Be gentle with yourself this week. When the inner critic appears, don't rush to believe it. Pause and ask what it is protecting. Ask what love would say. And remember, this is exactly what we will go deeper into on Wednesday in the 30-minute energy healing session. I would love to see you there. I thank you for joining me, and I will see you soon.